Tack. Tack. Oj. Hi. Yes, I'm Johan. I now work for Warner Music, but I also work for X5 Music, which is my company I started with some friends in 2005 or so. So today I'm going to tell you our story and the learnings from start, when we started as sitting in a basement, creating the idea, and then up to now. So let's start. So X5 Music is based in Stockholm. We started in 2005 and were acquired by Warner in 2016. To put it in context, 2005 then, if we go back to when we came up with the idea, 2004, the market was totally different. So it was dominated by something called Pirate Bay, which I don't know if you remember, but back in the days that was big. And they ruled the world in Scandinavia more or less. To put also into context is that the iPhone didn't exist. Many artists that are on the charts now on Spotify, they were in kindergarten. Maybe Justin Bieber didn't even know anything about music so far. So it was a long time ago. If it wasn't that many years ago, it was a long time ago in the music context. So we sat there. We were our music producer then, and well, we had a rough time. But so an opportunity appeared. So even if the iPhone wasn't there, Apple was, of course, huge, selling computers. And we saw an opportunity when they launched the first iTunes. So obviously, when you looked at it, you thought, OK, eventually, probably most things will be digital. So that was an opportunity in itself, that the market was very small and it was going to grow. But the opportunity we focused on was another thing. So if you go into a record store, or when you you went to the record store, it had about maybe, let's say, 20 products that sold a lot of copies. So they were on the wall, and then you could go, if you like music, and just to browse it, you could go in and you can look for CDs and so on. So maybe 10,000 songs or so were actually sold. If you look at the new iTunes, then it had about 10 million songs, and now music services have like 40 million songs. So it's broader consumption. So the opportunity we saw was that if you have all the music in the world in a pocket as you have right now on Spotify, what do you listen to? So in coming from a store to a music service, its consumption is totally different. So we focused on solving this problem. How can we simplify for users to find what they're looking for? And so we started creating. At the time, there were no playlists. The word wasn't even invented, but they were products and albums and so on. So we created like virtual playlists in this environment. So in iTunes and Amazon and other services. And our goal was to have a playlist for every situation or everything that people search for. So if I search for dinner jazz, we would have a perfect mix of music for just that purpose. So that was our big vision, to create a context for everything that people wanted. So the benefit of that, so when we started doing that, we got more and we got more relevant hits. But the benefit also, the upside, is that it also generated more money for the included artists. So a forgotten artist could boost their revenues just by being part of this. So we charged the artist or the recording companies for being part of these products and playlists, and that was a that's a win-win, because they didn't currently do it and we did it, and so we got our share and they got their share. So the effect was massive. We got millions of downloads, we got millions of followers eventually, and we got billions of streams. So it was really a massive opportunity that we found. So I could probably stop there, and that's it. That was the basic story. But during this time, then, these 10 years, which is quite long, we thought it would be like 3 years, and we could just have some music, compile a little bit, sit back and relax, and then be millionaires. But that didn't work. So it was a lot of struggling during this process. 2006, the iPhone were launched, and everything changed, obviously, because the consumption went from computers to phones. Then 2007, maybe, Spotify came. Everything changed again. So we had to adapt to all those things. So a lot of hassle and trouble during that journey. So we got some learnings by doing mistakes and by doing things right. So I'll summarize the best learnings here. And hopefully, if you have a startup or if you're going to start one, you could maybe find some things that you don't need to do the same mistakes, or maybe you want to do them, but then they can happen. So my goal today is that someone picks up something, and hopefully that leads to something positive in music startup world in the future. So the first learning is that you have to have a vision. Or this is at least what you learn. Maybe you don't need to, but this are what we. If I will do this once again, or we're still just at first base. But the important thing is to have a vision that survives the market shifts. So obviously the iPhone came, the Spotify came as well, but we had a vision to present users with the perfect mix of music for every opportunity, and that survived those shifts. So even now, maybe the next step now is voice. So if you have Amazon Echo, that you can just say, I want to hear the best music in the world, and it plays that music. That's a new shift, but still our vision is relevant. And for us, this is still just the beginning for us. But then you have to have a strategy that is adapted to the market all the time. So if we wouldn't have changed totally the strategy when Spotify came, we obviously would have been in big trouble. So changing the strategy during this process is something we learned that it's important. Another lesson we got, I knew it from start because I was a songwriter and know how songwriters can struggle in a new context. But also Per-Jörgen earlier mentioned today that you have to think that you need to benefit the users, but also the right owners. So there were examples at the time that didn't think so much about the right owners, so Pirate Bay, Napster, Kazaa, and so on. And I think they a bit forgot about the right owners, that they have to make them happy as well, because they are your suppliers. And Spotify, I think, was the first company that really were thinking, okay, we need to benefit the owners as well. So they had years of negotiations with them, and eventually they got all the music in the world. So that's an important learning. Also, so for a music startup, you have to think about killer idea, but then also solve a key problem for these music owners. And I think we luckily enough, then we had a little bit of both there. And Spotify obviously also had maybe more of everything, but a very good solution for that. So next learning is that everything takes way more time than you think when you start. As said, we had a focus on thinking, okay, 3 years, that's it, then the market is digital, everybody are happy, we are millionaires and famous, and we're still not famous anyway. So you have to have short-term revenues to be able to have the flexibility to survive when it takes longer time. So we were profitable very early on, but then when the iPhone came and Spotify came, so we had to adapt, and that costs money. And therefore, you have to have money all the time to be able to survive and to be able to grow when market changes. Also, of course, to build the value in the company, a long-term benefit is good. So if you're constantly building products to be relevant for searchers or for people that are listening to music, you build a database, you build a library of products, of playlists, of followers that benefit you in the long run. And obviously, you need to have a game-changing master plan. And I think if you have a startup and don't have the master plan, we are going to take over the world. Then there's nothing wrong. So that obviously should need to be the game-changing master plan. We should take over the world. So all these three things is our experience that it's important to have. If we look at the revenues then, obviously when you start, you have some money. start to run out until you get the market grows in significant speed. So the revenues are important there, and I think the longer you can hold out, and while the market is growing, well, the closer you come to your goal, if it's to list a company or to exit or just to continue as normal as well. But that thing enables you to have better timing. So the timing is obviously of an essence. I would say, thinking about it, we were probably too early. We could have waited 5 years by starting a company, but obviously when you have a great idea, you want to do it now, and you think that the next day someone else will start the same thing. But if you have some revenues also during this journey, the timing is less important. But timing is obviously crucial. Funding then. When we started this, I hadn't that much of experience of funding. And most people don't have. But I think we had a few important learnings there. And it's the first time you go to an investor, you sell yourself. You sell the people that are behind the idea. So they don't know if your idea would work. They don't know anything if the company is good, because it's almost not existing. But you sell the people. But then the next time you come to them or to someone else, you need to sell the idea instead. So that could be several times. Spotify, for example, are still a little bit in the idea stage. You have to sell it maybe 10 times or so to people, sell the idea all the time. You have to have key performance indicators that shows that your idea is great. And if they don't, well, maybe you have to tweak the idea a little bit so that it's great. You can say scalability. If you just conquer the world, this idea is even better or something. You have to tweak it a little bit so the KPIs are always speaking in your favor, until you can sell the company as an idea. You can say, this is a great company. Look at our bottom line. We're profitable. We're big. We're growing. And the potential is massive. And this company is great. So that's when you have total flexibility. You can sell the company, or you could just continue as you do, and so on. So if you think about these things, when you start the company, it's about yourself, then it's about the idea, and then eventually it's about the company. It's easier to focus when you pitch your idea to someone in an elevator here for 1 minute. So if you bump into Per Jörgen from Northzone, who is the best investor there is, you have 30 seconds. Think about you're also selling yourself. So don't just go on about the idea. It's yourself you're selling as well. Well, as I said, as you're selling yourself, the people is really important. So this maybe are one of the last and most important learnings. You have to have people that are nowadays that have a tech experience. So half of our team is tech, and you have to have people that love music. And so if you love both, then I think starting a music company or a music tech startup, then you have the right mix of people. Maybe all of them do both things, and then you maybe have 500% of love, I don't know. But you have to have the love for both technology and music. And that's also more fun to work when you have people like that. If we look at the future, I think we feel that we're just at base one. It's the first stage. It's actually now the fun begins. The music market is booming. I think no one here would argue that the streaming market will increase in the future. We have Africa, Asia, and so on. And it's still, as we saw earlier, it's not 100% streaming yet or digital yet. Maybe it will not be 100%, but it will be a major part of the music of the industry, and it will grow. So it's really the timing to start something new is perfect. And I think there will be more like unicorns that they say in the tech industry, $1 billion companies. And I think now is probably the right time to start them. So I think in a couple of years, I would love to hear your learnings from being in the business, because now it's really when the fun begins. I think so. When you are going to tell me, please email me or just approach me here or next year or the year after or so. But now I work for Warner, so we also have Charlie that you can approach. I think working with the music companies, as I said, is of essence when you do a successful music startup. And I think, therefore, just reach out. I think 10 years ago, it was kind of hard to reach out to majors and get the music so you could start a successful company. But nowadays, they even buy startups. So I think just reach out if there's anything, and I promise to. Or I don't need to promise. I would love to hear your ideas and stuff, because I think this is, as I said, just the beginning. Well, that's it. And now it says 0 seconds left. Thanks.